The Chosen Season 6 is going to be done filming in about a week and a half. They don't have much time left, but that being said, they've saved some of the most intense scenes for these last weeks of filming, including the scourging of Jesus. So let's jump into this and talk about it here. Pretty intense stuff. Starting on day 75 here, we see the ground covered in blood, as well as the post that Jesus is chained to when he is being scourged. Don't worry, we're going to get more images of this later on, but you can see clearly this is a Roman pillar. I believe it has a specific name, but it's eluding me at the moment. But you see the places where Jesus' hands are going to be chained. This is very similar to what we saw in the Passion of the Christ and some different adaptations there as well. But we're going to see that there.
Hey, Will.
Very, very intense stuff. This is from Emmy Bailey, who plays Joanna. Joanna has a much larger part in this season. She's been here for a lot longer than she has been in previous seasons, for a lot of different points within this. She's with the Romans. She's with the ladies. She's helping to bury Jesus later on. She's kind of all over the place in season 6. And so we're going to see a lot more of Joanna, which is kind of cool. I like her character. We see this here. I muted the music here because she just had some music over the top, but she's showing us the big sound stages and the set itself. These are the bungalows that she's looking at here. These are the bungalows where all of the actors stay while they're on set. They have kind of their own little mini apartments here. So here's her walking into hers. She's got a 5-in-2 Studios mat. Joanna with her name in English and Hebrew. And then here you've got a couch and all of her jewelry, all that kind of stuff in the room. Here's another shot of the set itself as they're kind of looking around. You see a bunch of the sound stages, and these look like either changing rooms or bathrooms or something that's set up there. But then the sound stages there. The sound stages are the ones with the blue bottoms there and the white tops. And then the other buildings are used for a bunch of different stuff, from eating to makeup and costuming to everything.
There she is. There's the sun. Look at that. So beautiful. I never really voluntarily want to get up to watch the sunrise, but every time...
Same, girl, same.
I do, although today was by force, I never regret it. And it's so beautiful, and I would love to do it every morning. Ideally. I'm going to commit to that this fall, getting up before sunrise so that I can watch it rise. I say that now, but that's the plan.
It's like a New Year's resolution. I'm not sure how far that's going to go, but we'll see. So this is Dallas. He says, I have to direct all kinds of actors in all kinds of ways. This is a continuation of last week when we talked about how they're going to do some sort of flashback to the killing of the innocents in Bethlehem. At least I think that's what's happening here. We see behind Dallas, there is a more not ancient, but kind of an older style of soldier that's behind him, showing a different era or a different location. I believe these soldiers are connected to Herod, that he is commanding them, and they're going to kill the innocents within Bethlehem, which we know that Herod the Great, ordered this whenever Jesus was a baby. And so I think that the baby that Dallas is holding here is either representation of Jesus or of one of the babies that is being killed, which is quite sad. Mitch. So there's the baby there. Back to the flagellation pillar here. We've got Atticus in the background, along with, it looks like Cophny and the family over to the right there, the different people that were with Cophny. And then over to the left, we've got a bunch of different scribes, Pharisees, Sadducee-looking people, as well as just a bunch of extras all hidden throughout here. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of different people throughout here.
Yeah, I was doing it. You mean this right here?
And I don't think that Atticus is going to be whipping Jesus. I just don't think that that's something he would want to do. I do think that we're going to be introduced to new Romans that are going to kind of hold that weight, because we wouldn't want to see any of our current characters kind of in that whole process. I would be very surprised if they had Atticus whipping Jesus. Now, I would be interested to see someone like Quintus come back and be a part of that and really fulfill his full villain arc here, coming back and whipping Jesus for everything that he did to get him in trouble and everything like that, right? I could see that being a part of this as well. That could be really, really interesting, but I'm not expecting that necessarily. We've seen some absolutely insane things in the season 6 BTS this year. I cannot wait to see this show later in 2026. But obviously, in order to see that come to fruition, we need to fund it first. In fact, the season finale for season 6 isn't even quite funded yet. They've raised about $20 million for the season finale itself, which is kind of the last 2 episodes, but it's going to appear as a feature-length movie, unlike anything we've seen before. Similar to The Passion, this is going to be this generation's Passion of the Christ. It's the crucifixion, but done through the lens of the Chosen, and of course the characters that we've been with since 2019. I mean, this is an insane undertaking, and this is what the series has been building up to. Of course, this and then the hope of the resurrection to come in 2027 and 2028. So lots of stuff coming in the future of what this looks like, but in order to make it come to fruition, we need to work with Come and See and have this actually funded to begin with. Now, 95% of people have never given a single dollar to The Chosen that have seen The Chosen. They just watch it on the app, or they watch it for free, or they watch it on Prime, but they've never actually given any money to fund the show itself. If that's you, I would challenge you in this. Even if you can give a little bit, it could really help furthering the future of what The Chosen is, and of course, whatever the future of Come and See looks like after The Chosen as well. There's a lot to come. Of course, right now though, we're focused on that season 6 finale. If you do feel the need to donate, you can scan this QR code right here, or hit that link in my description down below, and this is by far the best way to help The Chosen succeed. All the merch sales and the stuff with Amazon Prime, none of that affects the actual Chosen production right now. All of that comes through Come and See. That's why they exist, which is such a cool thing. It's so cool that God can use these different ways to fund these different projects like we're seeing all around the biblical media space at the moment. So anyway, donate if you feel called, and let's get back to the video. 108 degrees. Not very fun there on the dash. But this is Amy Bailey, I believe, again. She says that's a wrap on Monday. And you're going to hear the radio here as well.
That's a wrap. That's a wrap, Transpo. Copy.
Yep. So 108 degrees, wrapping up on Monday. Here's another day. Amy again, showing us the sunrise yet again. Here's Mitch. If you don't know, the Brosen has a little bit of insider joke here when it comes to Mitch on Celsius. Whenever he has these things, he gets very over the top and hyper and way too much energy. And so they said, who gave Mitch Hudson a Celsius, which is kind of like an energy drink, basically. It's supposed to be like a slightly more healthy energy drink, basically.
Ooh, that's good.
Anyway, we talked about a lot of these projects this week. If you haven't caught up, there's a bunch of videos on the channel that have come out or are coming out talking about these different projects here when it comes to 5 and 2 and all these different stuff that they're working on. So go check out those videos on the channel as well after you're done with this one. Here we've got Atticus in the screen again, a bunch of people behind him, including Coffney. Of course, Coffney kind of working for Atticus in a way throughout season 5 and 6. And so, yeah, maybe he's not too excited with the outcome of what has happened here. And like we talked about before, I am almost certain that Atticus will be the one to say, truly, surely this was the Son of God. And I think it's going to be Atticus that does that. So should be quite interesting. Here we've got some BTS filming, it looks like here. We've got Chris running away and Martha as well running away, doing some fun BTS content, as always. Here we've got Eden and Tamar behind the scenes. Now here, I wanted to put this in just to remind me to talk about it. Apparently there's this new feature called like hype that you can do on YouTube. So if you're on your phone or on your computer and you see this hype button in order to hype my channel, I guess it really, really helps out YouTube to know that my channel's good and that you actually like it, and that it'll push it out to more people. So if you see this ability on your app or on your computer or wherever you are to hype my channel, let me know, first of all, that you have it, like put it in the comments, but also do it. It would be really, really cool to see what happens if a lot of people hype the channel and kind of push it up on the leaderboard. So I'd be really interested to see what happens there. Here we've got Spectrum VFX. This is the VFX team that's helped out with a bunch of the different stuff. Of course, or not VFX, but FX team, which probably has to do a lot with the blood that's going on for this section of the show. And of course, they're all representing the FX team as they're going through everything that's happening with this moment in The Chosen currently. I saw a lot of people wearing this shirt, including like Mitch and everybody else, people that aren't part of the FX team, but yeah, very, very cool. Then here we've got a little bit behind the scenes. We've got Sylvia, one of our favorite people on the channel, of course. She's been a background extra for a long time, kind of one of the main extras on the show that gets paid basically to be on the show and be an extra and just be there ready to film whatever is needed. You'll recognize her from a lot of different scenes. And of course, a lot of these ladies you would have seen a lot throughout The Chosen as a whole. And a lot of the guys you can probably recognize as well that are there kind of all the time. And so, yeah, really, really cool to see them here. Here's a little bit of a shot of a big old lens that I'm sure costs a lot of money on day 67 or 76 here. And then we've got behind the scenes with Mary here as well, doing some hair. And then behind the scenes with some of the camera guys. And then Joseph of Egypt. Like I said, we're going to be talking about these different shows coming up on the channel, especially Joseph of Egypt will be really, really interesting to see what happens in the future. Also, we see here that this is a collaboration post between The Chosen and Lightworkers. I'm not 100% sure who that is, or maybe that's the company that Amazon hired to work on this show in order to produce it. I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to do some more research into that beyond this video, but I wanted to point that out for the future, just in case it becomes important later on. Here we've got Dallas, who is kind of awkwardly adjusting Caiaphas on what looks to be his bed, getting the shot looking how it needs to here.
A bit more off there. There you go. Can you say I'm scared?
And then here he's helping with a child who's saying, I'm scared. Now, this reminds me of the very opening of The Chosen with Mary Magdalene. I think that's what this is supposed to be kind of mirroring here. Now, this, again, is either the killing of the innocents in Bethlehem, which it definitely could be, or possibly this is a relative of Caiaphas that is maybe coming to him, since it's the same kind of section here that we're looking at. But it's really hard to say. Really, really hard to say.
Like the R a little. I think it's a little harder.
Yeah.
Can you try it with me?
I'm scared.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
So remember, very beginning of the whole entire show, we have Mary Magdalene as a kid with her father, and she says, I'm scared. And then he says, what do we do when we're scared? We say the words, right? So I think it might be a mirroring of that here.
Okay, here we go. Still rolling. And action.
So here, the reason why I'm saying it might be Caiaphas' house is because this looks very much like Caiaphas' house, but it's hard to tell here. I think this is the decoration in Caiaphas' house, but I can't remember. So it could be a relative of Caiaphas's or something like that. Maybe a granddaughter or something. I don't know. And here we've got Dallas doing push-ups as well, as always, eating sardines, walking backwards, doing push-ups, eating a pinch of salt before going to bed. All the weird things Dallas does. Here's day 77. We're seeing a little bit of the process of what they're going to look like, what it's going to look like when they're actually whipping and scourging Jesus. And so it looks like some of the shots are going to be directly on him, of course. Some of the shots are not going to be directly on him. They're going to show the actual spraying of the blood. So it is going to be intense. Like we've talked about many times before, Dallas has said this is going to be a 6 out of 10 if the Passion is 10 out of 10. So in terms of intensity, in terms of kind of gruesomeness, that's kind of how it's going to pan out. But you see some of the blood spray here.
Yes. Where here? Right here.
Copy.
Ready? And action.
So you see that little blood spray there. We'll play that one more time so you can kind of see it. If you look right where Adam's hand is, he shows where to spray it.
And action.
And then you see that spray right there. So that's what we're going to be seeing in the camera, basically, for that shot there. Now, day 78, we're here kind of in a Roman area. And we see Tamar as well as some of the other ladies over there.
We'll do a lineup first. I can see Max, Mother, and John on the bench, and then everybody else around.
And then we know that this is going to be Jesus basically walking through here towards the scourging. That's what we're going to see there. Now, this is James Cunningham, I believe, who is standing just inches away from this creature, this snake here, and didn't even know it. 10 days left, he says. Welcome to Texas. That is terrifying, though. Here we've got Akis. Just happy 41st birthday to Akis. Yeah, awesome. Then here we got the boys behind the scenes, the Brosen themselves, Adam and Mitch and Sam, along with a bunch of different people in the background there, of course.
The Brosens.
What did you choose?
Brosen. Brosen.
And why did you choose them?
They chose us.
They gave us no choice.
It was forced. It was a forced situation.
Did we talk to your agents about this day? Or?
I don't have an agent.
I do have an agent, and they let me go immediately.
I love these guys. Of course, they play Zebediah and Yanni in The Chosen, but in the Promised Land series, Wasim right here plays Moses, and Zebediah plays Korah. I just forgot his name for a second. Korah, who of course is the cousin of Moses in the show, at least, and is someone who betrays Moses later on and is swallowed up by the earth. So that should be quite interesting in a comedy show. But yeah, they're very funny to be around when they're acting, and just cool guys. So
yeah, that's great. One more Rich the Third. I need one more Rich the
I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna go.
I'm an artist.
Very, very cool. So we see here Tamar's last day. Now, when this was posted, everybody freaked out. Amber started getting her DMs blown up. She started like freaking out because everybody was like really worried that she was saying that Tamar was going to be done with the show forever, or that her character is going to die or something like that, right? That's not the case. She kind of clarified in a bit here. Tamar's last day, and she says, last day for season 6. Relax. I'm going to be back. Don't worry. And then she says here, the way y'all are blowing up my DMs right now, calm down, friends. I'll be back bawling my eyes out in season 7 if Dallas doesn't get sick of me first. And then here we got a little bit of another shout out to the special effects team here. And so that's that there. And then again, in week 3 of filming there for Joseph of Egypt. Here we get a little bit of a look at that earlier scene we saw with the area where they're going to be flogging Jesus, essentially. We see all of the women here. If I zoom in for you guys so you guys can see a little bit better. We see all of the women here. We see Salome, Mary Salome, right here. We see Eden. We see Mother Mary. We see Mary, Martha, Mary Magdalene, Tamar, and then John. So all the ladies and then John are kind of here. That is who all is part of this. John, of course, is the only guy that kind of sticks around for this whole time here. And so we're seeing him as part of this whole thing here as well. and we can see them following Jesus around. You can't really see too much of Jesus or anything. We'll rewind it and try to look at it closely here, but you can't really see too much of Jesus walking around here, but you see them following. So pretty intense stuff. We'll get back to this one in just a second. But we see here, we're going to look really closely here. Let me zoom in for you guys again. And we're going to try to look into the front here and see if we can see anybody. We do see in the back, like right here, we see one of the other thieves that's carrying the patibulum. That's the horizontal piece of the cross right here. So Jesus is like right here, basically. So you might be able to catch something if you're really quick with it, but let's see. So Roman's kind of pushing him through here. Yeah, you really can't see much here. Looks like Shmuel maybe here. Can't tell if that's him or not. Maybe not though. Yusuf maybe, Shmuel maybe. Hard to say. Doesn't look like it, but it could be. Yeah. So Jesus going to the flogging here. Pretty intense. Now, moving on, we got a little bit of a leak, leaky leak of the monitor of behind the scenes from the flagellation. So here we've got Jonathan. It's kind of hard to tell, but he's holding on to that pillar and he's chained to it. And then we have a Roman soldier behind him, and you can see that he's already covered in blood. There's blood on his face and his hair, and pretty rough stuff. Now, I did use AI to help enhance this a little bit, so you can see it right here. So it gives a little bit better picture of what's going on, but essentially imagine this is Jonathan's face. I know it's kind of obscured at the moment, but Jonathan's face here, the Roman in the back. It is a bald Roman. I don't think it's Quintus. I think people will jump to that conclusion. But I do think it's the same bald guy, possibly from Italy, that we saw earlier. Yeah, we'll have to see where that comes into place. But you can see his arms around the pillar here, the pillar in the center, and then Jonathan's face right here as he's being kind of flogged from this way. Pretty intense stuff. Now, someone else sent me this picture as well that I'll put up, which is Jonathan kind of closer up. Showing him obviously on set with people just chatting with him, because obviously he's an actor, right? But this is what it's going to look like later on with Jesus being flogged. We've already seen a lot of this from Italy, specifically. Italy and Utah, there was a lot of behind the scenes of just different things around this. But this is a pretty good close-up image of him and his eye being swollen and the blood kind of all over him. Keeping this kind of standardized across the entirety of filming has got to be really, really difficult, right? It has to be really, really difficult because they have to keep all of this the same, right? Like every scratch that he has, all the blood, like the eye and everything. Whoever is like following along in this process has to go from Utah to Texas to Italy and back and get all of that correct, right? Which has got to be really, really difficult. But yeah, let's continue on here. We see here the photo of all the ladies in John, kind of like an album cover here, of course. But this is one of the last days that all of them are going to be here. A lot of them are finishing up filming, including Martha and Tamar. They're both finished up filming. Some of the other ladies are done as well. And so as it gets close to the end of filming, of course, it's a lot of them are just going to go home and go find other jobs until the next time they're on The Chosen, right? And so that's kind of how it works here. Here we've got a little bit behind the scenes. I put a little bit of a title as well on the bottom so you can read what's being said by Caiaphas. It is very hard to hear. Even part of it I could not make out for the life of me. But we've got Yanni and Zebediah as well as Shmuel and someone else in here that I can't really tell who it is. Possibly I couldn't tell who it is. I'll try to look here again. But it's another member of the Pharisees or another member of the Sanhedrin, most likely. Could be Annas, but I don't think so. We know that Jesus is going to go in front of Annas as well, who is the father-in-law of Caiaphas, but it's hard to say.
You do understand what the consequences may be for your failure to respond or to defend yourself.
So here, I'll play that one more time before we get to Luke here.
You do understand what the consequences may be for your failure to respond or to defend yourself.
Yeah, so he says something at the very end there that's just unintelligible, but he says you do understand what the consequences will be or might be for your inability to respond, right? The idea being that Jesus is staying silent. Well, where does this come from? If we jump over to Matthew chapter 26, we see that this is the exact moment where Jesus is in front of Caiaphas. And there's a bunch of stuff that kind of goes on here. Caiaphas just keeps on talking to him, and Jesus does not respond, right? This man said, there's basically false witnesses that are coming forward and trying to defame Jesus. That's maybe who this guy is. Maybe he's a false witness right here, who is coming forward to basically try to make Jesus look bad, essentially. But here in Matthew 26, we have him saying, "This man said, I am able to destroy the temple of God and rebuild it in 3 days. And the high priest stood up and said, have you no answer to make? What is it that these men testify against you?" But Jesus remained silent. And so that's what's happening here in this scene here. And the high priest said to him, "I adjure you by the living God, tell us if you are the Christ, the Son of God." And Jesus said to him, "You have said so. But I tell you, from now on, you will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of power and coming on the clouds of heaven." Then the high priest tore his robes and said, "He has uttered blasphemy. What further witnesses do we need? You have now heard his blasphemy." What is your judgment? They answered, "He deserves death." Then they spit in his face and they struck him, and some slapped him, saying, prophesy to us, you Christ. Who is it that struck you? Yeah, very intense stuff. And then, of course, we get the denial of Peter, which is going to be another intense part of this season for sure. But continue on, we do. Here, Judas has 3 more days. Luke is almost done with The Chosen. Unless there's a flashback or a flash forward, which I don't know if there will be. I think Judas is pretty much done after these 3 days, and that's it. No more Judas in The Chosen. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. He's done an amazing job. Obviously, this will get him much more work in the future. I guarantee it. And so, yeah, his career has been very well kickstarted, in my opinion. He has done an amazing job in The Chosen so far, season 2 through 6 here. And so, yeah, that'll be the end of Judas. And then here we've got the last day of Martha. She says, "How my last day on set started." And then how my last day on set ended. And of course, this is her last day on season 6. She's going to come back in season 7 as well. As we know that the women are kind of all there during this whole time. Why wouldn't Martha be there? We should expect to see her in season 7 as well, where Judas is going to be going away for a different reason, right? He's going to be going away because, he's going to be gone. Then here, this was quite interesting. I'm sure there'll be lots of conversation about this, but there was a woman who came to set and talked to Elijah Alexander, and it looks like she may have baptized him. It's kind of unclear 100% what's going on, but it seems like he got baptized on set, which is quite interesting, in the kind of area of the Sea of Galilee, basically. And so here it looks like he got baptized here, and so this woman here is baptizing him. Not my world, obviously. Definitely not my world. I did have a question though. It definitely just made me question what is going on here. Here he says on this picture here, this is from earlier. He says, there are no rules of worship. He will hear the voice of every heart that is sincere. And it's from a quote from Rumi, apparently. And then here, he has a kind of a close-up with this woman here. And then there's one more that talks about like, and I'm not trying to be like judgmental. I'm not trying to like attack this. I think it's a beautiful thing. If he got baptized, it's really, really amazing. But there was one of these photos that talks about how she conjured his ancestors. I don't know what that means. Please, if you're, I think she's Catholic. If you're in that realm and like, you know something about this that I don't, please enlighten me in the comments. Have you heard the phrase conjured your ancestors? What does that mean? Because that feels way weird to me as a Protestant. So I'd love to learn more about it. I'm not trying to be judgmental or attacking anything. I don't really care what's going on here other than he got baptized. That's great, right? But the phrase conjuring your ancestors, what does that mean? How do we interpret that? How does that make sense in a biblical sense? Let me know. Love to hear it for sure. Let's continue on. Here we've got the full image of the flagellation area here, yeah, obviously looks pretty wrecked, right? All the blood on the floor. You can see all the wet blood that would be dripping down. Jesus attached to this. Yeah, it's gonna be rough, guys. It's gonna be really, really rough. This is the end of our BTS here.
Hey there, I'm on the set of season 6 right now. We're actually about to film, but I wanted to tell you about Sunday night. Oh my goodness.
So that's the end of our BTS. Of course, Sunday night is the live stream that we've gone over all that stuff already, and it will be coming out on the channel. Just stay tuned, subscribe to the channel. There's lots of stuff to talk about. Joseph of Egypt, the David movie, other 5 and 2 projects, including The Chosen Adventures and the Bear Grylls show. There's a bunch of stuff we talked about, and you don't want to miss this exclusive scene from season 6. Oh man, it is so good. We talk about the whole thing and break it down there. So anyway, yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.